you from the Yard Dawgs Podcast studio. A show for the fans, by the fans. Talking all things Cleveland Browns. From our mic to your ears. With your hosts, Jason Hand, Mikey P, and Ian Cold Train Coldiron.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
You are now in the yard. Welcome to the Yard Dawgs Podcast, a show for the fans, by the fans. This is Season 3, Episode 118. I'm your host, Jason Hand. The Yard Dawgs Podcast is brought to you by Network 216. To check out all of our Ohio sports content, subscribe to our Network 216 YouTube channel. And joining me tonight, my co-host, my partners in crime, Mikey P and Ian Cold Train Coldiron. Gentlemen, how we doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Ready to rock.
Ready to rock. What do you got there, Mikey P? What is that?
Oh, it's my Browns pencil.
Oh, nice. Have you seen this, Cold Train? You remember those old school pencils like back in the 80s?
Yeah.
And they had all the NFL teams. Well, Mikey has a collection. Like he has every NFL team. He's got like 2 Browns pencils, man, and I want to get my hands on one of those.
I have 3, so I have enough to give each of you one.
But the question is, will you? That's the question. Will you come off the Browns 80s nostalgia pencil?
I can probably part ways with them.
Well, that's a deal. I'm going to take that as a yes. Gentlemen, we are right in the middle of the off season. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. What we do during the off season, how do we spend our time? Because right now we don't have football or really sports in general. I mean, I know we have a couple sports going on right now. Baseball's about to kick off. We have the NBA going on, but as far as football and the reason why we're joining each other for this podcast, there is none. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and we're doing home projects. I know I said that, Mikey P. I think you might have said that as well. Guys, can I just share this with you? So a couple weeks ago, Mikey, you know this. So a couple weeks ago, I had a couple tiles that were loose in my shower, right? And I'm like, oh, this could be a fun little project to start. I'm not really a tile guy or a shower guy, but I could take a few tiles up, re-grout and set them back in place. So I take them off, and I'm noticing that there's like mildew and stuff in there. And as I take off a couple tiles, I realize, oh boy, this problem is much more than just taking off a couple tiles and then resetting them back on. Before you know it, bros, I had my whole shower floor demoed, like completely demoed all the way down to the subfloor. So now I'm rebuilding my shower floor. I've never done it before, but that's my fun project that I have going on right now. And I'm a couple weeks into it, and I probably have a couple more weeks to go. But I'm interested, fellas, like, that's my project that's going on. What do you guys got going on this off season?
I'll let Coltrane go first on that one.
I mean, honestly, I would say lawn work and landscaping. My wife and myself, we installed some landscaping last summer, and you know how that goes. It looks beautiful when they install it, and it looks all great and dandy. And then when it dies, now it's on you. Now you got to remulch it all. You got to do all the edging and all that stuff. So just a lot of yard work for me and my wife. But as far as home projects, just getting my man cave still finished up, guys. I still got a lot to do down here as far as just getting it Browns ready for the season and all that. So I got a lot to do. Maybe I should go over to Mikey's and thieve some of his stuff over there, and then my man cave will be set up faster than usual. But no, I mean, I honestly just getting the man cave ready and doing a lot of yard work for me coming up here.
Yeah, I know you've been busy, with your basement project that's been going on. It's coming on nicely. I see you got cable down there already because I see the football game going in the background. I'm guessing that might be NFL Network or something like that. But it's looking quite nice there, Cold Train.
Yeah, and then as you guys know, Sundays still I only really take off flag football. I play flag football on Sundays, and it's just so consuming, man. I mean, even this past weekend, there was a tournament going on both Saturday and Sunday. So for me right now, while I'm still young, I'm trying to, I guess, convince myself I'll go pro one day still and playing a flag and rushing like I'm Myles Garrett, thinking I'm Myles Garrett. And I'll do that until I keep telling my wife, I'll keep doing right now. I'm at about Tuesday till noon where I recover from Sunday. I told Sarah when I get to Wednesday and my bones and everything are still sore and it takes me 3 days, full days to recover, I said, that's when I know I'll Tom Brady and hang it up because 3 days of work, when you feel like you did leg day in the gym for like a whole week, it just, it ain't work. I mean, even me, I got off my couch this weekend, obviously, and participated. And man, I tell you, I'm not 18 anymore, boys. I tell you, it hit me till about Tuesday at noon. And I said, even today, I felt a lot better. But Monday morning coming in, man, dude, I tell you, it is rough. So a little bit of flag football, a little bit of yard work for me. Yeah.
I don't know what off-season activities that you do, Mikey P, but I do know that you've been busy winning like awards. For those of you who don't know, the Tidewater Browns backers, congratulations to them. Mikey P, you're the treasurer of that club, won Club of the Year for the whole world. So Mikey P and myself, we went to this celebration on Saturday night. It was awesome, Mikey P.
I'm glad everybody had fun.
Just a great time, man.
Yeah, it was awesome. There's 342 chapters in the United States and across the world. Browns backers worldwide. So the fact that we won chapter of the year this year was awesome. It's not done without the fans coming out and supporting, helping with all the charities from St. Jude to Here for the Girls and Toys for Tots, the Browns Foundation, all the great charities, the Virginia Food Bank we donated to. We had a special Browns raffle Saturday night where we raised, I think, over $1,200 for the Virginia Food Bank, which is a big thing for this month because, I know Coltrane doesn't live in Virginia, but they just ended the extra benefits that people were getting on their food cards during the pandemic. So, the Virginia Food Bank has been inundated and needs all the help it can get this month. So it was awesome to be able to try to help them out as much as possible.
Yes, that's all good stuff.
We had Chomp there. We had Hanford Dixon was out, who we'll have Hanford on the show here very soon. We had Chomps with us and Corey that works for the Browns. He's going to join us on the show coming up very soon too. So cool things. And, Jason walked away with one and my dad actually walked away with two. And my dad ended up with a Denzel Ward full-size autograph helmet.
I'm not going to lie. I need to know when this next one is, Mikey, because when I saw that stuff, I said I would go up just for that. I would travel and take a vacation with Sarah just to see if I could win some of that. I mean, you guys had some pretty cool stuff from the post I saw. So,
and we had no idea because they didn't tell us what prizes they were bringing. We're thinking like some prize packs, stuff like that, like they usually have at the summits and stuff. And they usually have like one autographed big helmet like that. But I was like, when they're putting it on the table, and I was like, there's a Myles Garrett helmet. There's a Deshaun Watson helmet. There's a
Denzel
Ward helmet. They had one of those.
All big? They were all regular size too?
So the Denzel Ward was the only full-size one. The Watson and the Garrett were mini replicas.
Who cares? Yeah, who cares?
Then they had a Nick Chubb bobblehead, but the surprise on that bobblehead was it was also autographed. So
really? Who got the Nick Chubb autograph?
I don't remember who won that. It wasn't Jason. Jason won two prizes.
What did Jason get? What'd you get, Jason?
Dude, both prizes were fantastic. One I was really stoked about. So Coltrane, you're a season ticket holder. All the game day posters that they passed out for.
Oh yeah.
For all the games. So there was a large white heavy duty envelope and it had all 17 weeks of those game day posters, but they were limited. Like these ones were numbered. So mine said 32 of 100. So there's only 100 of these made. It's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Basically what you got.
Basically the originals.
The first printings is what you got.
That's pretty sick. Yeah.
So I guess I'll frame them, and maybe put them in the podcast room.
I told you, I think I already told you guys, I have two of them. I can show it on the show next week if you want. I already got 2 of them. That Joe Thomas one and the Halloween game. I framed those up with Sarah a couple weeks ago. I put them on one of my walls down here, and it looks. I got to tell you, Jason, do it because it looks really impressive. And because when somebody goes down there, even if they're not a Browns fan, they're kind of like, oh, it's like Browns art. You know what I mean? So it's like, you look kind of cool because it's not just football. You know, it's like, oh, you got good artist work down here. So yeah, I highly recommend it, dude. It's in my basement right now.
I think the Halloween one was at the Stranger Things.
Yes.
Poster.
Yes. Yeah, I have that one, the Joe Thomas.
You know, for the Saints, they had the Christmas Story house for the Christmas Eve game.
Mm-hmm.
For Baltimore, they had
the clams for your
crabs.
guys. Yeah, the clams for you guys, right?
Yeah, it was fantastic. But Mikey P, it was a wonderful night, and you should be very proud, man. I mean, like you said, there's over 300 clubs worldwide, and you guys won Club of the Year, so that's fantastic.
Yeah, hats off to you, Mikey, for real. That's just definitely an honorable award. Wasn't Wyatt Teller supposed to be there? Didn't he have like a family emergency? If I was correct, I think so.
Yeah, we were actually what we did was, and Hanford Dixon didn't know this, but we actually enshrined him in our. He's an honorary member for life of our club.
Oh, that's awesome.
We presented him with that honor, and Wyatt Teller's mom and dad are actually members of a club up in Richmond, Virginia. They were actually down, you know, and unfortunately, Wyatt's family, something happened, I think, on his wife's side of the family.
Yeah.
It was kind of something bad happened, and
because I got a feeling he would have been there if he could have made it, man.
Yeah. What a wonderful evening. Let's take care of some housekeeping, boys. Before we do that, I want to welcome our audience in. I see some YouTube comments. Mitchell Metz he's eating a calzone tonight and watching the Yard Dawgs podcast. It doesn't get any better than that. And Mitchell, now I'm hungry. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mitchell, I'd love to have a calzone my way, man. I mean, is it at least let us know too. Is it Pizza Hut? Did you make it yourself? I mean, next time let us know, Mitchell.
Yeah,
love to know, man. You're getting us hungry.
Is it from like one of those legit Italian places where
it's like mom and pop?
It's like a giant calzone that you're eating half of it today and half of it tomorrow.
Oh my gosh! I'm hungry now. Okay, I'm gonna have to drink another beer.
Hey, but wait a minute, Jason. What was the second prize you won? Now I'm like, I have to know now.
Okay, so this was the one that my daughter went with me, and she actually, before the raffle began, we were throwing our tickets in these prize buckets, and that's the 2 prizes. She wanted to win the posters, and then she wanted to win the next prize, which was a stuffed animal dog. It had a Browns bandana and some dog treats. It came in a Cleveland Browns box, and it had a couple Frisbees in there. So
puppy pack is what it was called.
It was a puppy pack. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Sick. Yeah, I'm jealous, man.
So
good night. So wait, were you allowed to win anything, Mike, or you just didn't win anything?
So I didn't play because I was selling the tickets. So I was like, it wouldn't look right if I put any tickets. My wife bought some tickets, but she buys $20 worth of tickets, and guess where all $20 went? The puppy pack. I'm like, you couldn't throw one in the helmet for me? Like, just one. But my dad ended up winning the Denzel Ward helmet, and my dad really wanted. Jason got one. So Hanford and Frank Minifield have their own whiskey bottles. It's for Woodford Reserve. I think. Do you have your Jason?
I don't have it up here, but I do have it. Yes.
You have to show it on the show next week then.
Yes.
And it's hand signed, and there's this cool like artwork on it. And my dad really wanted one of those because my dad loves Woodford Reserve. He loved it so much that he actually ended up trading the helmet for the Woodford Reserve. Really? And then he bought another Woodford Reserve one. So he's got 2 of them now.
Wow.
He said one to drink and then one to keep sealed.
Yeah, because I guess Frank Minifield's from Kentucky, so Woodford Reserve made this label for him. Like they didn't make it themselves. Woodford Reserve put the label on there.
Limited edition,
Yeah, a picture of Frank Minifield and Hanford Dixon, and then they both autographed. It's really cool. I don't know if I'll ever open it. I mean, I was thinking, maybe after a Super Bowl victory, that'd be a good time to open it. But outside of that, I'm never opening that bottle.
Well, there you go, right there. Just save it for the Super Bowl, baby. Might be next year.
Super Bowl party at Jason's house. Good stuff. All right, let's get into some housekeeping. The Yard Dawgs Podcast and Network 216 are proud partners with Homage, the apparel company. If you haven't tried Homage yet, you're definitely missing out. Homage is always coming out with on-point, cutting-edge sports apparel, and it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg. As a bonus, you'll get special discounts by using our link to shop at Homage. Show support for the show and do it in style. You can find the link on our website, network216ohio.com, or you can find the Homage link on our Twitter page at Yard Dawgs Pod. Please shop Homage today. Guys, they have a lot of great sports apparel, not just Browns. I mean, they have MLB, NBA, of course, the NFL. They're officially licensed by the NFL. They have a lot of gear on there, and not just sports gear, but they have other gear as well. 80s movies and that kind of stuff. But Homage is fantastic. Coltrane, I see you have an Homage shirt on. I do as well. I'm sporting my Miles Homage shirt tonight. What do you got on?
I'm kicking it old school, man. Just
Love
2022 season with the old helmet.
Killer. So yeah, shop at Homage. We definitely appreciate it. Let's get into some Brown news. This was, guys, we celebrated this a couple weeks ago. Joe Thomas got inducted in the Hall of Fame, and it was put out this week. And I just love this, especially when you followed Joe Thomas's story from the day he got drafted. You know, he was fishing with his dad. You know, you could just tell he's a total family guy. Instead of showing up at the draft or something like that, he's out fishing with his dad on a boat. Well, fast forward to the Hall of Fame, Joe Thomas selects his wife, Annie, and their 4 kids to be presenters for his Hall of Fame induction speech. So I just thought that was cool, man. Joe Thomas is first class all the way, and definitely deserving of the award. What do you guys think about that, man? I mean, I know I'm going to go. I know everybody's going to be watching this Hall of Fame speech, and we can't wait for it to get here, because not only that, the Browns are playing the Jets in the Hall of Fame game. So we got it's going to be a great weekend.
I'm excited for it. I don't know if I'll be able to go. Just because of it's going to conflict with another week. So I don't know that I'll be able to make both of them. They're going to be pretty spread out. But I will definitely be watching the game and watching the induction ceremony. I'm trying to think. I can't recall the last Browns player that I got to see play that got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Not me, and not in my lifetime either. Not me. I don't remember either.
This might be the first one.
Yeah, we've had a couple players inducted, right? But they didn't play during our lifetime. Well, let's do some research on that. We could be wrong, but you're right, Mikey P. It's been a while.
Yeah, Clay Matthews deserves to be in, and he's another one I got to see play. So, I think Joe Thomas might be the first. I'm gonna have to look into that one.
Yeah, and Jason, we might see you there because me and Sarah are tentatively making plans for that weekend. We want to go to the game. Are you going to go to the game too, though? We're trying to go to the game as well.
Yes.
So, did you buy tickets already? How is that working?
Okay, so I'm going to share this now because they go on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. So if you're listening to the show and you want to go to the game, get tickets for the game tomorrow at 10 a.m. They go on sale. So, make sure you look out for that. But yeah, so my dad's flying in from Arizona. I'm flying in. We're going to meet in Canton. Well, we'll probably fly into Cleveland and drive to Canton. And dude, if you're there, that's like a double bonus, but you'll get to see, get to meet my dad. I met Mikey's dad Saturday night, man.
It's on our radar. It's on our radar for sure. So like I said, it would be, we would have to kind of not be available that weekend for us not to go. So even if we don't get tickets tomorrow, we'll find a way, sir. We'll let you know.
Andrew says Ozzie Newsome.
Yeah, but I only saw him. I saw him play when I was very young. And I don't remember his Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So I think this is like the first one, like modern era that I've gotten to see go in. Yeah, I think Ozzie Newsome was the last one to get inducted, though.
Yeah, guys, I will say I remember Joe Thomas. I met him his rookie year. Stand-up guy then. I got his autograph on a mini helmet. Stand-up guy then, still the same guy. Just lost a lot of that, baby fat that he was as an old lineman, pretty much the same guy. But just so ecstatic and happy for him, for a dude who he's just the epitome of Cleveland. He's a blue collar worker, man. He just put his head down, ripped every snap, just showed up for however many consecutive snaps it was, and just worked. How many crappy quarterbacks did he have? How many, the dude alone dealt through, we thought we were having it bad as fans. Imagine him every year getting pumped up like this might be the year. Might be Brandon Whedon guys. Hey, Brian Hoyer's looking good this year. Imagine him going through all that as your actual protector and in games. I can't even imagine. So just for his service alone, dude, I'm just so happy for him. I'm like you guys. I watched every game he was involved with. Love the pick. I love even when we drafted him. I'll never forget he's catching a fish. Go Browns. Number 3 drafted out of Wisconsin. So it'll be, like I said, Jason, for sure. That's on my radar too. I would love to see that in person because he's a stand-up dude and he definitely deserves it, man.
Yeah, and I remember there was a certain point of his career where we as Browns fans thought, oh man, we actually might lose Joe Thomas. He's going to go somewhere else, and he didn't do that. He stuck with Cleveland through his whole entire career, which is almost unheard of. So that's just like a double bonus right there.
Yeah, nowadays you're going to see that? No way, dude. The way these players are on Twitter and all that now with their agents, you won't see that today in today's game. I'm sorry, you won't see that loyalty. That's a long forgotten.
Especially with what he went through in Cleveland, as you pointed out, Coltrane. All right, so that's really cool. And this, according to Mary Kay Cabot, Deshaun Watson is open to restructuring his contract to help the Browns acquire vets and free agency. We also heard, at the NFL Combine that the Browns are going to be aggressive this offseason to acquire talent. So that's kind of goes in line with what was said during the Combine. How does the restructure work? So the way I think that it works is that part of his salary would be converted to a signing bonus, say like that was 20 million just for an even number. And then that 20 million would be extrapolated, over the remaining years of his contract. Is that how it works? Is any of you two?
Yeah, pay less now, pay more later.
You're going to eventually pay for it, but
yeah, it doesn't really make sense to me because it does, but it's like it's almost when you get into 2024 and 25 or 25, 26, either way, you'd almost want to just redo the contract just because you're going to get into owing. What would it be like 65 to 70, to save that 20, then it'd be like 65, 70 a year. It would just be astronomical. So yeah, it's one of those things that goes back to where I tell my wife all the time, the cap doesn't exist. Everybody's always worried about free agents, all that. Look at what these teams do all the time. Buffalo Bills, Philly Eagles, they all pull it off. They got a great cap guy. They do all this stuff, to answer your question properly, Jason, they do all this stuff, with the books and they do it so mathematically, but, realistically, I got news for Deshaun, and that's my boy. You have to be willing to, brother. You just have to. You're going to get your money regardless. So my thing is, it's just asking them to, like you said, divvy it up a little bit differently. And it ain't like he's not going to miss a dime. It's all, unfortunately, thanks to Haslam, it's fully guaranteed no matter what, how you dig it. But especially for Deshaun, you have to be willing because it's like we can't bring in top free agents without getting that chunk back, even with other cuts and stuff that we'll do later in the off season. So
yeah, and it's needed. We're seeing, to your point, Coltrane, we're seeing other teams do amazing things with the salary cap. We just saw the Saints, they're signing Derek Carr, and when you look at the Saints current cap number, you're like, well, how are they doing that? That's how they do it. They restructure other contracts. They let players go. They create room. They just get it done. And the Browns, that's what I like. One of the things that I love about our front office is they're forward thinkers. They do stuff outside the box. The Deshaun Watson contract, if you really analyze it, it's amazing how they actually did that. And I know there's other owners that are mad at us for all that guaranteed money. We're going to get into one team in a minute with the Baltimore Ravens and what they're going through with Lamar Jackson. But that's what I like about our front office. And Deshaun Watson, as well as other players, might have to restructure so we can create room. But that's exactly what I think they're going to do. They have to be aggressive this free agency. We talked about this in previous shows. I think it's going to be on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to give Jim Schwartz weapons, so that way he can have everything that he needs to be able to do his job completely. So I'm looking forward to that, guys. I mean, free agency is coming up very soon. We saw a lot of tags. We saw a lot of players not tagged today. We're going to get into all that in just a minute. What did you guys think about Derek Carr signing with the Saints? Did you guys see that coming, or was it a surprise? Mikey P, what's your thoughts on that?
It was a little bit of a surprise because I remember he had met with them prior to being released, and they couldn't work out a deal. And it sounds like he chose to be released to kind of help them out. So maybe there was some like backwoods dealing, like
they didn't have to give up trade
to get that work. Like they don't have to give up trade assets. They can renegotiate they can negotiate the deal so it's cap friendly. I mean, not surprised that New Orleans went after him. Like, I feel like they have a solid roster. They're just kind of missing that quarterback piece right now. And I think Derek Carr gives them an opportunity. I mean, looking at it right now, they may be the best team in the division right now. I think with Derek Carr, I think they are the best team in that division. And I think Derek Carr is a solid quarterback. I mean, I think the Raiders kind of did him dirty last year personally, but that's just me.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, what are the Raiders going to do now, right? Because I don't know. I mean, I heard that they're looking at Aaron Rodgers possibly this couple of months ago. Maybe that ship has sailed. But, what do the Raiders do to replace Derek Carr? I mean, obviously they have a plan, I'm sure, but it's fascinating. And, today we see Geno Smith, who's had an interesting career so far. He didn't have the fastest start in the NFL. He's been on multiple teams, but it sounds like he's found a home, at least for the next couple of years with the Seahawks. He signs an extension. Daniel Jones, signs a 4-year, $160 million deal. He could get an additional $35 million in incentives. So that's almost a $200 million deal if he plays his cards right. So we're starting to see the pieces fall for QB needy teams, and there's still a few teams that need a quarterback. But what do you think this does to that market, Coltrane? I mean, if you're the Jets, what are you doing? If you're what's another team? Atlanta, what are you doing? Carolina, I mean, are they rolling with Sam Darnold? What's going on with these teams?
Well, Jets are actually visiting Rodgers either today or tomorrow. I mean, that's actually coming to fruition. I'm shocked at that because it's the frickin' Jets. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm an old school fan. I don't respect the Jets at all. I just don't think they're good. But it's like, yeah, I guess that's coming along. Atlanta was linked to Lamar. That Ravens situation is very kind of odd to see, I guess, just because it's like they tagged him, but obviously they have the 2 first-rounders. I think if the 2 first-rounders, someone, gives him a better deal, which is very much possible. I think no matter what happens, the way Lamar is and how he's been his own agent, my prediction on that one, I think it'll be an A-B situation. If they don't get him a deal or somehow it just, something just doesn't happen, he'll sit. He will refuse to play. I mean, it'll be like basically almost like a Watson, what he did to Houston, where he'll sit out a year. If he's not traded, I don't think the end game for this is going to be, I know a lot of people are different opinion than me, but I don't think the end game will be Lamar's in a Ravens jersey. It'll just be he either won't be playing at all or he actually will get traded to another team. But I keep hearing now Atlanta's out, Raiders are out. I don't know, man. It's all rumors and stuff like that. But QB situation is always great. I'll end it with this. I did see a tweet from, I think it was our own Nick Carnsey. I think it was $5 million. Watson is only making $5 million more than Daniel Jones, the New York Giants. So all these, DW4, you paid him too much. The fact that he's only getting $5 million more than Daniel Jones, I'm okay with that. I think Andrew Berry and these guys know what they're doing, obviously, and they know the market. And like I said, now you look at a Daniel Jones type prospect versus Watson. I'd much rather. I'd bet my mortgage it'd be Watson every time. Yeah, I'm not interested in Danny Dimes, but that's pretty cool that our front office is getting quarterbacks for around the same market. So
you had mentioned Lamar Jackson, and let's go ahead and talk about that. So when the Browns signed Deshaun Watson to that guaranteed contract, $230 million, that caught the attention of Lamar Jackson because this has been going on, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, this has been going on for a couple of years, they just haven't, they have not been close on a contract extension. I mean, we're talking about a former MVP. He's one of the most exciting players in the NFL. He got a little dinged up last year. Yes, but he does deserve an extension. Or
he only lost 16 games total.
I mean, the guy's dynamic. The guy's dynamic. So it has definitely got. Who's the GM at the Ravens? DaCosta, I think is his name. DaCosta. So I think it's been getting pretty salty between Lamar Jackson, DaCosta, and somebody mentioned Ozzie Newsome. Andrew mentioned Ozzie Newsome, the Hall of Famer, earlier in the show. I heard Ozzie Newsome kind of had to step in because he's still with the Ravens organization and kind of be the liaison between Lamar Jackson and DaCosta. I just behind closed doors, I don't think that's a good situation. Ozzie Newsome, I think Lamar respects him, so maybe that got the talks going again, but I heard it has not been going well. And this move that the Ravens made of giving him the non-exclusive franchise tag, so that basically allows Lamar Jackson to shop with other clubs. And if, say like the Atlanta Falcons, for example, you mentioned them earlier, gives him an offer, then the Baltimore Ravens can either match it or they say, goodbye, Lamar, and they get 2 first-round picks from Atlanta, is how I understand it. But that's a situation that, we're all going to be paying attention to. And you got to think that this all started with the Deshaun Watson. Like that ignited. It was smoldering before, but I think that just ignited the flame when the Browns offered that monster contract to Deshaun Watson. And by the way, we weren't the only ones, wanting to pick him up as a dance partner. There was multiple clubs outside the Browns that wanted to sign Deshaun Watson. Just we were the club that got him.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't know about you guys, but hey, Atlanta, Carolina, get Lamar out of our division. I'm a Browns fan. Get him out of here. I'm sure you guys feel the same way. Please, some team, go get him, dude. It's an MVP. Give him freaking Buco Bucks where Ravens don't even want any part of it, and get him out of there. Please, get him out of our division. I would love if I was a Browns fan and tomorrow we got a breaking news, Lamar was traded, that would be a great, happy day of my life, guys. I'd go eat ice cream for it just because I don't want to deal with Lamar Jackson coming out the bathroom on a primetime game and beating Baker Mayfield. I don't need to see that kind of stuff anymore, dude. So thank God. I wish the luck to all the teams. Show them the money, baby. That's what Jerry Maguire. Show them the money. Get Lamar out of our division, please. Thank you.
How do you think this ends? I mean, it's either going to end one or two ways. Lamar signs with another club or he stays with the Ravens and plays under that non-exclusive franchise tag. Mikey P, how do you think that ends, man?
This could potentially end badly because what if some team comes and say they sign, they try to sign him to a deal and they give him, say, $35 million or $40 million a year and the Ravens match it. Like, how does that work? Like, he's agreed to a contract with a team and then they're going to match it. Like, at this point, does he want out of Baltimore? Like, does he just want a fresh start? Like, is the relationship ruined? And I think that's the hard part. But then what if nobody comes and offers him? Then where do you go from there? Because I just don't understand it because there's got to be a team that comes and gets him. And the fact that I heard that Atlanta is out of it makes no sense. They were all in last year for.
I agree.
They were all in last year for Deshaun. And you could get a guy like Lamar. You play in a dome. the offensive coordinator, the coach there definitely can build around his skill set and win there. You're not in an elite division. Desmond Ridder is the guy you drafted last year, and he didn't really show much in his rookie year. Like, you can't be that sold on him unless you think the only way I think Atlanta is saying that they're out of it is if they have some type of deal worked out where they're trying to get up to number one to take CJ Stroud or something like that. But I think there's a lot of scenarios. I think it's going to be real interesting. I just don't know how that relationship is ever mended, because if he doesn't get what he wants on the open market, like he doesn't have to sign the deal still, and he could still end up holding out.
I think that both sides, that they were so far apart. Like, I don't think that they were close, because I mean, if this was like a couple $1 million, I don't even think we're having this conversation right now. Like, that's not what would, prevent a deal from happening. I think they're so far apart that they finally just said, okay, we're going to franchise tag you, go see what the market is, see what other clubs are offering you. And they knew that by doing that they would have a chance to match it. I think that's what happened. So to answer your question, I mean, the Ravens knew what was going to happen when they put that tag on them. So can they be mad at them for going to see what the market is out there for them? Now the question is are there a couple teams that offer them? Coltrane, you mentioned 35, 40 million. Is there a couple clubs that are going to do that? I think that there will. I think there will be at least two teams that offer him something big. But ultimately, I just think he's going to stay in Baltimore. I really do. I think that, say Atlanta comes and say, hey, we'll give you 38 million guaranteed. I think the Ravens match it. I don't think they're going to let him walk. I really don't. I wouldn't.
I mean, if do they love or think that who is their God? I can't remember the guy's name. The backup that they had play for them last year has played the last few years.
Snoop Huntley.
Yeah, Tyler Huntley.
Tyler Huntley. Do they like Tyler Huntley that much, or feel like he's interchangeable? Like, I remember there was a rumor about a month ago that Dallas was looking to trade for Lamar and possibly move Dak and eat some of Dak's salary and move Dak to Baltimore. And then Lamar ends up in Dallas. I didn't see any legs to that, but
yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch to see how that all plays out. And Coltrane, dude, I'm with you, bro. If he does move, get him the hell out of the AFC.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stop, Coast, man.
Stop. Here's an idea too, NFL teams. Stop trading into the AFC. We have so many good QBs. Start shipping these dudes out to the NFC, please. Like, seriously, man. Even the playoff run this last year was ridiculous because out of how many, 12 or 14 teams, then 90% of them are good quarterbacks, dude. So, yeah, please ship some of these dudes out to the NFC or something. Come get this guy, man. It was in Atlanta in the NFC. Go get him.
Yeah, because who's your competition? And if he goes to the NFC, who's your competition?
Some of those divisions,
the Eagles,
they're getting in the playoffs like 7 wins, dude. I mean, come on, give them the NFC, man. You guys would be like Philly had the best year of their lives, and their division wasn't even that good. So, yeah.
Well, let's you had mentioned about getting him out of the AFC. Let's talk about a few tags that happened. And then tags that didn't happen, and maybe we can talk about the direction the Browns might go in free agency that starts here in less than 2 weeks. So here's a couple tags that happened, all non-exclusive. The Giants tagged Saquon Barkley, so he's making – if you got tagged and you're a running back on the non-exclusive, you're making just over $10 million a year, which I thought was interesting because Daniel Jones – is making $40 million a year. He just signed that pretty big contract, I think. And his running back is making $10 million. So I don't know.
He's still
can't be happy with that, I don't think.
When you're franchise tag, you're getting the highest salary out there. So he's getting paid as the top paid running back. It's just for one season. It's not for multiple seasons. So
I mean, I'm sure if he had his choice, he would rather sign a long-term deal with the Giants, as the running back and not play on, especially running back. I mean, man, anything can happen, and that's a dangerous position. you're kind of betting on yourself at that point. But anyways, Saquon Barkley gets the tag. Evan Ingram for the Jaguars, tight end, gets the tag. We just talked about Lamar Jackson. Josh Jacobs gets the tag. This is the next one we had talked about. Deron Payne for the Commanders. We had talked about him a couple weeks ago, and we all agreed that the Commanders were going to tag him and they weren't going to let him walk, and that's exactly what happened. So he's going to make $18.9 million this year on the tag. And then another running back, Tony Pollard for the Cowboys, also got the tag. Couple players that didn't get the tag. Let's move on to this one because a lot of Browns fans have been talking about this player. Is safety Jesse Bates for the Bengals. We've heard rumors. I don't know if it's just on Twitter, honestly, or if this is like a real thing, but he's being tied to the Browns, and he's been quoted as saying he'd like to play with Deshaun Watson. So I guess he thinks highly of Mr. Watson. Coltrane, what do you think, man? I mean, should we go after a Jesse Bates in free agency? Because we've heard that the Browns are going to be aggressive. This would be an aggressive move, in my opinion, because he's going to be getting paid.
I mean, I love Jesse Bates. Yeah, he was a captain for the Bengals. He'd be huge. I love any division trade type thing or free agent pickup because they know about us, that we know about them, and they'll give us usually some insight too on how to beat the Bengals or keep, beating the Bengals how we've been. But no, I think especially John Johnson, we talked about on the show a couple of weeks ago, his safety play has been horrible. A week ago, before we heard Barry talk and we discussed like more stuff from like Mary Kay and stuff come out on Twitter about their aggressiveness, I would have told you there would be Jesse Bates and like a bunch of mid players. Now I feel like it might be Jesse Bates and like a Hargrave. I mean, it's very possible. I don't want to get too excited. Christmas isn't here yet, but maybe you're talking a couple of stars instead of just one star and a bunch of mid people. I'm sure you guys heard that rumor of Hargrave, or I don't even. Where do they get this stuff? Like how does that even get released? It said Browns already have ready a $20 million contract ready for Hargrave. Is there any truth to that, though? I don't know. I mean, it's great to look at. I love seeing it, but that's the kind of stuff that you look forward to seeing, and those are the kind of like breaking news that you want to see when free agent. I think that us as fans, you all want to see a star. You know what I mean? That's just how we are. It's how free agency goes. But anyways.
I think that if the Browns land a safety like Jesse Bates and a defensive tackle like Hargrave, I mean, that would be massively that would be massive, and it would be super aggressive. I've heard that Hargrave would his market is probably a 3-year deal, $61 million, $40 million guaranteed. So that number you use, Coltrane, kind of fits with what he's going to demand, which is about $20 million a year. So we would have to have a restructure, not only from Watson, but also from a couple other players as well to make something like that happen. It's interesting. I don't know. Mikey P, if you had your choice, would you go after a defensive tackle or a safety? Like what do you value more to fix this defense?
I think that's twofold. I mean, I think a playmaking, disruptive defensive tackle helps change the front four, just like Myles Garrett on one end does for the defense. A playmaking, ball hawking safety that you could put back there also makes I think having Delpit Bates, if you could pull off both those deals, Hargrave and Bates, I think instantly your defense is one of the top defenses. Like, and then that way it kind of they're not going to spend money at linebacker at that point. They're gonna probably draft linebacker, sign some guys. I just think there's a lot, but paying both those guys big money, I don't know if they'll be able to do that. Like that's going to be two contracts.
Maybe they grab a Frank Clark. Speaking of tags, Frank Clark was not tagged.
Frank Clark was released.
Dude. That would be huge, man.
Yeah, I think some of these guys, like, it gets to a point where And I think the Browns overall, like when you look at the Browns now, you see they have a quarterback, they have a good offensive line, they have stars, they have good players on the team. Like they're a team that you can go to and say, hey, a guy like a Frank Clark might be like, I'll go play. If he was going to sign with, say, I'm trying to think like somebody's rebuild, like the Titans are obviously rebuilding, like they're trying to move play pieces and make trades, and there are certain teams you can tell like they're clearly not. They're not competing next year. They're not even trying to. Like Tampa Bay next year. Like you're probably going to hear Tampa Bay floating around names of trade pieces that they're going to try to move, and they're going to do a little bit of a rebuild too. Those type of guys aren't going to go sign there. They're going to sign for a little bit less and go play for contenders. And I think the Browns fall into that line. Like I think if you're looking in the division, Cincinnati's a contender. Baltimore with Lamar Jackson is a contender. I don't think Pittsburgh is truly a contender. The Browns are a contender. So
yeah,
you could see guys coming there. You're not having to overpay. The Dwayne Bowe days where you got to overpay a bum, I think, are kind of behind it. When you have the quarterback, that's how they see. And these guys want to play with these elite quarterbacks. That's why Kansas City's been able to bring some guys in because they know they have a chance with Mahomes.
Yeah. The glaring needs that I see are defensive tackle, defensive end. I'd like to see us pick up another defensive end, whether it be free agency or the draft, a linebacker, safety, and then on the offensive side of the ball, a wide receiver.
Yep.
And I've heard McCole Hardman. I think somebody actually just commented on that from Facebook. What do you guys think about getting like a McCole Hardman type? He's a speedster, man. Like he would definitely help our offensive wide receiver room.
Well, they need somebody to do what they wanted Schwartz to do the last 2 years that he hasn't. You need somebody to take the top off the defense. So you need a speedster, man. And it's just like they've been doing it. They've been trying it with Schwartz, and the dude's got brick hands, bro. I mean, I appreciate all the efforts of them. Oh, he's improving. He's improving. No, he's not. I mean, he's all right. He's decent at best, but he's basically who they drafted when they drafted him. It was a project. You didn't know if he was going to hang or do well or not do well. And, somebody like that you're talking about to take the top of the defense. But either way, just give somebody, that's the thing too, or maybe like a Cooks. Why are they overthinking this? Give somebody Watson's worked with before. I'm just, maybe call me old school about that. I just give, obviously D-Hop's more of the fashionably loud pickup, but give me like a Brandon Cooks. Give me somebody that he's thrown the ball to before that has rapport with. I don't know. Just make it easier for Watson. Look how well it did with Burrow and Jamar Chase. Just stop overthinking it, dude. Give me somebody that Watson's familiar with. But that's just me as far as receiver.
We've heard reports that the Browns' offense could look drastically different than we've seen the past couple of years. I'm talking about I've heard, throwing it 40 times a game and Nick Chubb possibly running it only 12 times a game. So I've heard even the Browns might have offensive plays where it's like 5 wide. I don't even know what that looks like. Like, what is that? That's like wide receivers, huh? A tight end and
they had that last.
A running back.
Empty set. It's empty set. They've run empty set before, and I've yelled at it.
but that's what I'm saying. Like our offense could look a lot different next year. So the idea of picking up a wide receiver, I would be totally on board with.
Yeah, it just goes back to what Watson was saying on a podcast recently. It was that offense this past year was mainly for Jacoby. I mean, at the end of the day, Watson was not the starter. It was a very simple offense Stefanski implemented. This offense now will be a full off season, a full practices, full OTAs. Stefanski and Watson working together. No more. How many games is he suspended? Is he going to be here for this week? Blah blah blah. They can focus in, dial in. Watson, as you could tell from those podcasts, he wants to do more of the run and gun. He likes to run the offense. So Stefanski's going to have to take a little bit of a step back, a little bit, let the kid play. But I agree with you, Jason, and I'm with you. This offense was going to look completely different than it did last year because it's just going to be – they're going to add a couple pieces, but they're also – it's going to be – because no more Hunt. They're not going to be necessarily splitting time with them anymore. It's going to be mainly Chubb. He'll be the focus. Then you got Watson. Obviously, that'll be the main focus. And it's going to be similar, I think, more to like the Houston where they threw it 40 fucking times and it worked. And that's what Watson likes to do, man. As you guys know, he's got a hell of an arm. So why not, dude? Let him sling it. Let the boys sling it.
Yeah. When you look at all these top tier teams, we know that the two teams that are in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs and the Eagles. I don't know about you guys, man, but I watched the playoffs. The first part of the playoffs, I was just mad because, the Browns had such a shitty season and you're looking at, man, I wish I was in the playoffs. You kind of had that attitude as a fan. At least I did. But then you start looking at these teams as teams got removed from the playoffs, they lost. And then you see the teams that are moving forward, like the Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs, and that won the Super Bowl, the Eagles. And you look at them and, man, I couldn't help but to think, how far off are the Browns from these top tier teams? And part of me feels like we're really far off. Like we have a long ways to go. But then other parts of me thinks, man, maybe we're not that far off. Maybe we are close, What do you guys think? Like, how far off are we from these top tier teams that we saw in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl? Coltrane?
I think we're a handful of players away. We're a handful, and that could be 3 to 5 studs. And I mean legitimate studs, not Band-Aids, one-year deals. But we're 3 to 5 players away. And also, as you guys know, in the last year, as it went on and how we talked about that on the show many weeks, coaching. The coaching is improved for next year. Give me 4 or 5 stars/studs, from whether it's free agency or the draft. Implement that, coach them right, get a good offseason with Watson. I think we're going to be in good shape, guys, for real, because that's really what we were missing even last year. We even said on the show, we were missing a linebacker, we were missing that D tackle, we were missing that receiver. Well, now you can add all that stuff we wanted last year. It seems like they were waiting for whatever reason for this year to get them. Now we'll get what we want. It'll be a matter of, is it going to fit? Will these guys fit our schemes and all that? And obviously, all has to be copacetic, but that's the main equation for, having a better season this next season is adding those few pieces and then obviously improving your coaching, which they've already done. So.
they have done. That's something I'm very excited about, is what they've done with the coaching staff, with Jim Schwartz and Bubba Ventrone. I just love those moves. And you guys know I've always been a Stefanski fan. I know some fans have gotten hot and cold on him and, whatever, that's your right as a fan to think what you want. But I've always felt that Stefanski can be a great coach, but he's already a great offensive coach. Like, I just think he's a great offensive mind, and hiring a guy like Jim Schwartz, I think, is going to improve Stefanski as a head football coach. I just believe that. I think that was a great move. And, there's a lot of reasons why I'm excited about this year, but Mikey P, do you have anything to finish up on that thought?
No, I don't have anything else to add. I think Coltrane said it perfectly. I think we're, a handful of guys away. Like, in the NFL, you can turn things around and shift your roster very quickly. Like, Jacksonville went from just an abysmal mess to a functional football team that, they were a handful, like, they were in that game against the Chiefs. They gave the Chiefs all they could want. They were close to winning that game in Kansas City, as a team that got hot at the end of the year. They got a young quarterback. They got some things fixed and turned around. So you just have to hit in certain places and get it right. And I think if we get the right mix of receivers, get a guy in here that kind of stretches the field. I think Cooper is your possession guy, your third down guy that you're going to go to. Get that guy that kind of takes the top off the defense. Let's kind of DPJ and Cooper work. You got Njoku in the middle. You still have Chubb. You know, Barry has shown that he's. I think Barry's better with trades and maneuvering the cap than he is actually with signing certain free agents are always hitting on the draft. And the draft at the end of the day is it's a crapshoot too. Like it's an educated guess that you're taking. Some of these guys work out, sometimes they don't. But I think they're not that far off. Like this team was literally 3 bounced balls away from a playoff team. There was 3 games that were decided. Like they make one stop against Atlanta, they're in the playoffs. They stop the Jets. They recover the onside, they're in the playoffs. They make the kick against the Chargers, they're in the playoffs. Like there was only a couple games where they laid an egg and lost. Like every other game where like those 50-50 games, they could have gone either way.
Yeah.
They're not as far off as like some people think, oh, they were a last place team, but they were a last place team last year, but you're on to 2023. New things.
Yeah.
I think for me, and I know we got to land this plane. For me, although I saw Deshaun Watson improve, each game he played of the 6 games, I would have liked to have seen him like the Deshaun Watson of old. And we didn't really get to see that. So, I guess I went into the offseason like, man, I wish I would have saw at least one game to give me some confidence moving into this year. But even with that, I don't have a doubt he's going to be just fine this year. He's, like you said, Coltrane, he's going to have an entire offseason. Him and Stefanski are planning, it's just going to be better. I think he's going to go into September way better than he was this year. I just believe that. But again, I would have liked to have seen at least one game where we saw the old Deshaun Watson. We just didn't see that. Mm-hmm. That's my only thing.
I thought you did, though. I have to disagree. Wasn't there the 3 touchdown game? You guys didn't think that was Deshaun of the old?
I think Washington, that started coming out for sure.
Yeah, I thought there was a come out. Brief. It was brief, but there was
it wasn't a whole game. I mean,
it's a brief week of football, or at least a half of football that showed you what he's capable of doing.
Yeah.
So, I got you.
Yeah. It wasn't a whole complete game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. He'll get all the jitters and stuff out though. All that stuff is going to go away. He'll have all the preseason games too to participate in fully. That's a lot different this season for sure. But I agree with Mikey's point. Those 3 games, Mikey, how you just described how they ended, that handful of players can change that. And that's what I'm trying to prove on this show. Like that coaching, add in that better coaching, and then add in that sprinkle of a few more athletes on the field. Maybe we get that onside kick. Maybe we make that kick because you got a special teams coach that actually knows how to tell the kicker how to make field goals. Stuff like that, man. It'll be awesome. So
let's go ahead and move on. We did just get a shout out from Here We Go Brownies. So I don't know if that was Dustin or Allie, but hey, thanks for tuning in the show. We had Dustin on a couple weeks ago, and he was a fantastic guest. Never talked to him before that, but just had a great insight on the Browns and what's going on this offseason. So hopefully we'll do this again. Here We Go Brownies. Shout out to them. I think they go on live every Wednesday night, so be sure to check them out. You can find them on Facebook and other platforms as well. So Here We Go Brownies with Allie and Dustin. Let's move on to YouTube channel plug. Guys, congratulations. We just made over 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. Thank you all that have subscribed. It tremendously helps out our show and Network 216. We have a goal by the end of spring to get to 2,000 subscribers, and we're well on our way. If you want to support the show, you can subscribe to the Network 216 YouTube channel for free. We are working hard, very hard to bring Cleveland sports content, and more shows are joining the network all the time. We are your one-stop shop for all of your Ohio sports content. You can subscribe to the show by just subscribing to Network 216 on YouTube. So if you're watching this show right now and you look at your phone or your computer and you see that you're not subscribed, do us a solid and subscribe. Just hit that button and it will help us out. And also you'll get notified every time a new show drops on the network. And we have shows almost every single night, just like this one. And you can be like Mitchell and get yourself a big old calzone and tune into the Yard Dawgs podcast and just kind of make an evening of it. So, but we definitely appreciate your guys' time that you spend with us. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, what you should do is get on YouTube, watch the show. While you're watching us, join Underdog Fantasy and set some daily fantasy lineups using network code or code Network 216 and win some money while you watch us, enjoying the content, and then your calzone get paid for. You paid for your calzone.
There you go. Look at Mikey P just throwing in a commercial on the whim.
Yeah.
Look at Mikey P.
And calzone, if we got any pizza restaurants or Italian restaurants out there want to join us as a sponsor, hit us up. We'll gladly talk about your wonderful calzones too.
That's right. All right. Well, we have one more thing to talk about. You guys are probably, maybe you are, questioning, well, why is this big wheel in your background? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Well, check this out. We've been talking about the Wheel of Destiny all season long. We have had a contest going on, and there's nothing on it right now, but next week we have had some amazing, let me get my phone. We've had some amazing. So there's going to be a punishment on there. We've had a year-long contest. We've predicted all the AFC North games, the playoffs, the Super Bowl between myself, Mikey P, and Coltrane. And it was a close battle. I won with 39 points, so I got the trophy. And Coltrane, who just left, did he do that on purpose? It doesn't matter. We're still going to talk about it. Coltrane got last place, so he has to choose his punishment. He's coming back on now. I thought you did the Irish goodbye, but here you are. You're back, baby. So Coltrane's going to pick his punishment. I sent out a tweet this morning. Guys, I don't know, you guys saw some of these, but we had some amazing punishments on here that we're going to go.
My personal favorite was the wear a bikini top. I mean, what's up with you guys? You guys want to see that? You would ask my wife to get a hula skirt. I mean, what is this stuff? That's coming on here today. But we love the feedback. But I'm sorry, I'm going to have to veto the bikini. I will not be wearing the 2-piece on this show. That's out. Sorry about that.
Roger
months of Coltrane where we get to pick a pose for every month.
Yes, that's the calendar. That was a great one, Mikey P. You can get that done.
We'll make that and send it to Sarah. We promise.
Okay,
we won't sell it
okay,
on the internet or anything.
Roger from the Guard Chug, he's requesting if you do the bikini, do it in yellow and black, like the Steelers colors. That's like double punishment.
Okay.
So we had one comment that said that you should do the entire show in a British accent.
I like that one.
I do like that one. I think that should definitely be on the wheel. And if you fall out of your British accent, like you go to your, I don't know what kind of accent you have. It sounds like you're from New England or maybe something like that. But
he's got an Ohio accent.
Yeah.
If you fall out of that British accent, you got to do push-ups. So that's a punishment. We saw you have to go to Waffle House and eat waffles for breakfast every single day of the week.
Brian's not going to be happy about that.
That sounds like an expensive, I love these people's ideas. It's like, this sounds like an expensive Waffle House I have to work. I work at 5 a.m. How am I going to go to Waffle? I mean, that just sounds like a lot. I'll have to wait till I'm off work to complete something like that, man.
Here's one. You got to do combine drills. Combine.
Oh.
That'd be a good one.
I already did in Berea. Remember that guy said there wasn't any scouts there to
There's
watch.
no scouts here, guy. There's no scouts here, guy.
Hey, Coltrane, nobody, Andrew Barry's not up there watching, man. Hey, you never know. You never know.
Well, so if you do combine drills, my vote is Sarah records it, but you do it in a shopping mall while people are shopping on a Saturday, you're doing combine drills in the lobby. That's what that has to be.
Doing cone drills
run
in the home and hearth section at Target. I would
we'll tweak some of these by next week. We'll definitely tweak.
Oh, they'll be tweaked.
We appreciate all the we do appreciate all the love and feedback we got from everybody. We were ecstatic at the number. We were talking about it before the show. We were ecstatic at the number of people we got to interact with that. You never know when you throw something out there on the tweeter, but I was very, very happy, very, very excited. I guess I should be excited. I don't know, depending on how bad they were, but we appreciate everybody's love and all the feedback they gave us for this spin the wheel.
And here's what we're going to do, boys. We're going to come up with 7. I think it was 7 or 8 punishments.
Yeah, 7. I thought you said
7.
Right.
We're going to come up with 7 punishments from the comments because we had like 30 comments. And whoever's punishment you land on, we're going to send that person a free homage shirt.
Okay.
What do you guys think about that?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I got a question for Coltrane there because I saw one of them was eat a can of Skyline chili. Have any of you guys ever ate Skyline chili?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Way, dude.
I've never had it.
It's not
I
bad.
don't know if it's good or bad.
I've never had it. I don't know how they stay in business. I'm with my wife all the time, and I walk past one, and I'm like, there's like 2 cars there. I'm like, why do people even like? How is a place like this still exist? But then I'll go like in my break room at my work, and they'll be like the maintenance guys will be eating it. It's just like, all right, I guess people do go to Skyline. I don't know, but no, I've never had it. That could be a good one, but just Ian tries Skyline. I'm not eating that. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not eating no cold.
No,
I'm not doing no
can.
bush beans. I'm not eating no, getting sick or E. coli from a can of bush beans just open. No thanks.
And we're not going to make you take a bath in a kiddie pool of ketchup or anything like that.
Is that? Yeah. I'm sure that was one of the ideas too. So,
well, thanks for joining us on this show. We're going to have a great off season. We have Hanford Dixon is going to join the show this off season. Felix Wright is going to join the show. Ken Carmen has agreed to be a guest on the show.
Ken Carmen, really?
Yes.
Wow, Super Bowl, Super Browns.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a lot of guests that are going to be on the show this offseason to talk about all the moves the Browns are making. We're going to do a Browns Backers Month where we highlight one Browns Backers club per week to talk about what they're doing in their chapter because, we have a special place in our heart for the Browns backers worldwide, and we definitely want to highlight some chapters as we did last year. We had tremendous success doing that. So if you'd like to be a guest on the Yard Dawgs Podcast, hit us up on Twitter. Our DMs are open. You can find us at Yard Dawgs Pod. You can also comment on the show, things you'd like to see, maybe things you'd like us to cover. But we're going to be busy this offseason to bring you all the latest news for the Cleveland Browns. Thank you for tuning in to the show. I like to end all of our shows with the Go Browns. So Mikey P, Ian Coltrane, if you'll join me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Go Browns.
Give me that pencil, Mikey P. We'll see you next week, guys. Love you.